Deputy Pitman, thank you for the interview this morning. It's a result of your, well, can I say, interview on BBC State Radio this morning. Could you tell us what happened, how the interview, if you can call it that, came about on State Radio this morning?
Last week, Deputy Shona Pitman was on the radio as a victim of these threatening letters, and he was given a 10-minute slot with Matthew Price. I felt that me and Trevor should have had our say on this, because to us it was a smear campaign, and we weren't given the opportunity. So I asked and met with John Gripton, the managing editor of the BBC, and he assured me that we would be able to get our side of the story across, and also the side of our appeal and why we're going to appeal it next week.
But that didn't happen, did it? I don't know, as a listener, because I got a lot of phone calls and everything. A lot of people were disgusted because it was only about 30 seconds in to your so-called interview that the presenter was actually cutting you off, saying that you didn't have any evidence to substantiate your allegations. He said he clearly said you didn't have evidence. Is this true? If you didn't have evidence to back up your allegations?
Everything I said in that interview was backed up, and before I could actually answer, Matthew Price was accusing me of having no evidence. And the thing is, you know, he's
rather than asking you, did you have evidence, he was telling you you didn't.
Yes, he was telling me, and actually I had it all in front of me, and he didn't give me the opportunity to get it all out, which, as I said, John Gripton told me that I would be able to get it all out. And, you know, as a journalist, knowing what I was coming in to speak about, he should have been prepared. And had he been prepared, he would have known that I had the evidence. And I think really that they were trying to talk about another story about me and Trevor being stressed, and not really about the facts of the case. It
was, to me, I'm a critic of the BBC for good reasons. They've suppressed a lot of information that we've given them in the child abuse cover-up. But it did see they had an agenda, didn't they? And they just wanted to run their agenda. As a listener, there's no way on earth that Matthew Price wanted your story to get out. That's the way it sounded to me.
It certainly felt like that, and you know, we were promised the exact opposite, and we got something very different. And you didn't hear some things that I went on to say, and I was cut, and I was
cutting your microphone off. Yeah.
Yes, he was. Yeah. Obviously didn't want to know the truth.
It was incredible because the Deputy Shona Pitman and Matthew Price were on there last week saying, well, I can't understand why the Pitmans are trying to suppress free speech. You know, it's very strange that they're trying to silence the media, and they couldn't understand why. And all I could think of was, well, why did they invite Shona Pitman in there that morning and not you and Deputy Trevor Pitman?
Exactly. Today they were saying that we didn't have any evidence to substantiate what I was saying, and yet they said that Shona Pitman's not here to defend himself, when they did exactly the same to me last week, saying that we were trying to suppress freedom of the press.
Well, that's right. So it's double standards, isn't it? You weren't there to defend yourself last week, but Shona Pitman never got cut off and said, oh, you can't say this about the Pitmans because they're not here to defend themselves.
No, he was allowed to speak for 10 minutes almost without interruption.
It's a bizarre piece of radio. This is an absolute bizarre piece of radio. Well, I think it shows the BBC up for what they are, and it's a mouthpiece for the government. I don't know how you feel about that.
Well, I do feel that with all of the media, the JP, the
local
channel television,
media.
Yes, very clearly, you know, we haven't been able to get our side of the story without the appeal. The question is why. You know, we're raising big questions about the judiciary. We've criticised them heavily, we've criticised the media heavily, and unfortunately this is what you get when you do that. And it's not just politicians, it's members of the public too.
Well, because here's the other bizarre thing, is that Matthew Price is saying, oh, well, we don't know about this, we don't know about that, we can't substantiate this, we can't substantiate that. Now, if he really wanted your version of events to come out, he would have got all his paperwork from you, done his research and said, indeed, we can, or otherwise, substantiate these claims. But clearly they've done no research whatsoever. Do you feel that?
No research was done. They didn't ask me for any information prior to the interview, which you would have expected from an apparent impartial media. There was lots of evidence to back up everything I was saying. And clearly, like I said, he was cutting me off every time I could provide that bit of evidence. He wasn't allowing me to come out with the truth, and he wasn't allowing the public to hear that. And the public haven't had, a fair chance to hear that truth. So it's not just about us getting that out. So
after your interview this morning, I call it an interview. It just wasn't though. I can't. It was just incredible stuff. How you kept on getting cut off. It was just unbelievable, even for the BBC standards. But do you feel somewhat cheated in the way that John Gripton, you said, assured you that your side of the story could be told, and then obviously only to be cut off by the interviewer every time you tried to tell your story? Do you feel cheated?
Absolutely, yes. He assured me that we would be able to give our side on both on these threatening letters and our appeal. And that's what the media is there for. It's there to get out the truth. That's what journalists are there to do, to get out the truth. And we haven't been given that opportunity from the BBC. And so, I wonder, we're never going to get the truth out because none of the media over here will allow us to do that. And why? Why are they doing that?
Well, indeed, because like you said, you have sent out a number of press releases and they've just been gagged. And then the BBC this morning saying, oh, well, we can't substantiate it, we can't, there's libelous things in there. Well, why don't they research why don't they just research the press releases you're putting out?
Nothing of what I said was illegal. Nothing at all. And that is a mistruth that has gone out to the media, gone out to the people. That is something that is an excuse, really, for them not wanting it aired. And that's the thing that they've put in people's minds. That we're trying to, we're not about getting the truth out. And
well, this is what you're trying to do. So I suppose I've got to ask. Obviously, you're giving me an interview. We haven't done many interviews, you and I. You can see now, hopefully, the benefits of having a citizens' media over here, because we believe we are the only independent media over here that will give politicians from across the whole political divide. We do give people an opportunity to talk. Do you agree with that? Do you think it's?
I think it's absolutely crucial. That we need it, that the public need it, because if you don't have this outlet, if dissident voices don't have this outlet, the truth doesn't come out. If the truth doesn't come out, nothing changes. And this is the thing, we don't want change in this island. The judiciary don't want to change, and they're not going to change because nobody's questioning them. Okay, that's what the
people are.
Hear.
You're questioning them. A lot of people are questioning them, in fairness.
That's true,
but
yes.
That's not getting out across in the state media.
And that's what citizens media, your media, is allowing us to do that. And we certainly need more of it. And I would say to your viewers is that we, listen to what they're saying, but also listen to citizens media.
Because again, they talk about a lot about balance, for instance. Now, every weekday for about 3 to 5 minutes, the state radio are promoting Jersey's only newspaper, the Jersey Evening Post. They're promoting it every day. So you would have thought, with any kind of balance that they're supposed to have, critical things should be allowed to be said about the JEP. However, the minute you started criticising the JEP, Matthew Price started telling you how wonderful they are and how professional they are. So doesn't it show that we haven't got any rival media? However, you would have thought these two would have been rivals. You know, like the BBC and the Mail, for instance, are rival. So doesn't this just prove the fact or demonstrate the fact that we don't have any rival media outlets on this island other than blogs?
No, there is no independent or rival medias. If you listen to what they say, they're reporting, all of them are reporting the same things. All of them went along with this smear campaign, and you know, it's worked.
Yeah, okay, and because the Jersey Evening Post, again, the interim injunction that you brought to stop this smear campaign going out because of the ongoing court case, that injunction was only brought against, the interim injunction was only brought against the Jersey Evening Post. So every other media on this island could have, if they wanted to, broken that story, couldn't they?
Well, they could have done, and the BBC put it across that the injunction was also about them, and it wasn't about them, and it was a temporary injunction. And I've outlined why we brought it. You know, the main reason was because Andy Sibsey, the new editor, he was going to run a story the next day saying that our supporters were linked to the threatening letters without any evidence, and none of the media. This was all heard in the court case, in courts during the injunction hearing, and none of this was reported.
Well, again, you know, if we have rival media now, I would have thought the BBC, any journalist, and ITV, Channel Television, would have thought, "Your beauty, we've got a scoop here. We can run this story, and the newspaper can't. We've got a scoop." But they adhered to this injunction that didn't apply to them. You know, what do you make of that?
Again, I think it's about the smear, and going back to the interview with Deputy Power and Matthew Price trying to put across that we were trying to gag them, if you like, and we were trying to gag all the media, is absolutely rubbish. And again, that is just a part of all of the media. You know, they go along with these stories, and
they've got a party line. There
is a party line. They don't want to question. They don't want to tackle big issues, especially the judiciary. You know, there could be implications for them in the future if they did. You know, some of these people, heads of medias, also have links with ministers and powerful people in politics and things. So they're not going to do anything in our favour, ever. They never have, when it comes to tackling big issues.
So just to finish up on, you know, you got a thumbs up for the independent bloggers, but also you're going off island, sort of your media now. You're getting basically pushed off island with your media, and you have got with your press releases, and you have got some international and national media people that you're talking to now. Yes, there's a couple of 2 or 3 newspapers interested in the story, and a couple of international media web sites that are talking with us and possibly reporting the story. Well, good to hear that, and thanks for giving us this interview. I hope you're pleased that you haven't been cut off and you've actually got your point across. Thank you. And Citizens Media is probably the only place you're going to be able to do that on this island. That is right, yes, and we hopefully will be probably more likely be using you in the future, because we very much doubt we'll be getting our message out, because we've been trying to get it out for over a year now, and it just hasn't come to any fruition. And that was proven this morning by the BBC, who's supposed to be impartial, and even with them we can't do it.